Good afternoon and welcome to the post-match press conference with Zimbabwe player Sean Williams. Please ensure that your phones are on silent. And those from Zoom are joining us now, so we'll just give them 1 second to connect. Okay, everyone who are online, this press conference is a hybrid version with in-person and joining us online on Zoom. Those on Zoom, please ensure that your cameras are off and your mics are muted. So we'll start with the on-room. If anyone has questions, you, sir, go ahead and you can start with Mr. Williams.
Bangladesh celebrated and the players of the both teams shake their hands, and then you needed to get back to the field. How weird it was.
It's extremely weird. Obviously, I've never experienced something like that in a cricket match before. But again, you know, it just goes to show in a T20 game, there's always a little bit of hope. Anything can happen.
Any gentleman in the back?
Commiserations. It was quite a letdown, did you think, in terms of the fielding from the Pakistan game? Because that game, Zimbabwe was sensational for large parts in the field. And then there was quite a bit of sloppiness here. I just wondered what your take on all that was.
100% agree with you. I think those are the areas where those little 1%ers start to creep in. And when it's untidy, in particular the fielding, it tends to creep through into other things. And today, that was definitely the difference.
Could you also talk about the strategy around the promotion for Milton Shumba in the power play? Was there a particular game plan, a role that he'd been given around in the first 3 overs?
Look, Milton, I think he strikes the ball really well. He's a stroke player of the ball. He plays the fast bowlers really well also. He's a good puller of the ball. And I think, you know, just sort of splitting up the senior players through the batting order as well is an option for us. It just hasn't come off for him in the last 2 games. But I think, you know, he's definitely got the ability and he's got the talent to do it.
And just one more for me. So Blessing bowled quite well in the power play initially, was Zimbabwe's best bowler in that early spell, I thought, and ended up not bowling. Was that just strategic or was there a fitness related concern there too?
To be honest with you, I'm not 100% sure. But what I can tell you is it was very difficult to face spin on that wicket, especially when the ball was slow, when it was came slow through the air. It definitely had a little bit of purchase, not that much, but it was really hard to actually hit a boundary. With the big boundaries out here at the Gabba, it was difficult to first spin.
Sashan, you can ask your question next. And then we'll come back to Melinda. Sorry, I didn't see you behind there.
Hi. If you could just talk a little about the partnership between you and Burl, and of course the Shakib's run out. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, the partnership between us, we spoke about running between the wickets. Obviously, striking the ball and striking it clean, you had to get a 6 or boundary was really hard. You had to hit the ball hard along the ground in the gaps to possibly get a boundary. But running hard, you still get 12 runs and over. So it was a game about fitness, and I felt that, you know, if we could run hard and get a boundary in between that hard running and keeping composure through that fitness, because obviously you start to mentally fatigue through that. I felt like we always had a chance, and basically, that's what our plan was. And when it came to the run out, Jesus, could go any way. Hey, I mean, 1 stump to aim at, you missed that. I'm running 2. I'm still in, but it wasn't to be. I misjudged the run badly and got run out. Unfortunately, it didn't turn out too well for us.
We'll take Melinda's question now, and then we'll take some questions. We have some hands raised via Zoom, and then we'll come back to in person.
Just in the context of the tournament that you've had so far, and notwithstanding the mistakes in the field, to have taken it so close and then have such a dramatic ending, can you kind of put into words, I guess, more the emotion of what this loss has been like?
It's an emotional roller coaster, isn't it? Just cricket in general is an emotional roller coaster. Throughout, from the first ball to the last ball, a lot happens, and you know, there's a lot of ups and downs and happiness, sadness throughout all of that. And I just felt that, you know, just taking it game by game and day by day is important for us. And finishing today, obviously we're unhappy, but it's an attitude for us that we got to take the positive from today and move into tomorrow with that.
And what is the positive?
I think there's a lot of positives. Obviously, getting through, you know, Blessings bowled really well. I've managed to come out of quite a bad patch. There's so many things that I can't just pick them off the top of my head at the moment. But losing's never easy. None of us like losing. I personally hate losing. But leaving the field empty is such a big thing for me. And as a senior player looking at the juniors, going out there and coming off the field, not saying I could have, should have, and I would have is one of the biggest things.
Okay, we'll move to online now and take a few questions from there, and then we'll move back to in-person. Tawheed, you're up next, followed by Mahmoudul and Mohammed Isam.
Unlucky on the loss today. A couple of quick questions. Firstly, when did you first realise that the no ball was a no ball right at the end? And secondly, you're obviously on a real high after that Pakistan victory. Was it a bit difficult to kind of get your feet back on the ground and refocus for today's game?
The first time I realised that there was a no ball was actually when we were walking out to shake the umpire's hands, and they told us to stop, and the replay came on the big screen, and then we all noticed that it was a no ball. Very, very interesting times that. And sorry, can you repeat your second question again?
Yeah, just after the win against Pakistan, you were obviously on a big high. Was it difficult to kind of get your feet back on the ground and refocus for today's game?
No, look, I think like I said earlier, we try and take things day by day. What's gone, we can't change anything from that, and just going back to the basics and sticking to what we do best is our strengths, and that's what we try to do.
Thank you very much. We move on to Mahmoudul on the Zoom.
Hi. How do you evaluate how do you evaluate your ranches? And do you think that if Bal is able to be in the striking end, it will be a different scenario?
Sorry, I didn't understand that.
If Bal is was in striking end, is there will be? Do you think that there will be a different scenario?
100%. Actually, to be honest with you, when I tried to take the single to Shakib, I was actually trying to get Bill on strike. Already at that time of the game, we were already trying to sort of say, okay, you've got to go here. If I can get a boundary, you can get a boundary. We'll win the game before the last over.
My second question is where Zimbabwe cricket can go from here after some exciting match and exciting wins.
We can still carry on going up. It's only one way to go, and that's to continue learning and to continue growing. I think this squad that we've got here is an excellent bunch of people and human beings, and it's all about each other and it's not about individuals, and I think that's the most important thing.
Thank you very much. We go on to Mohammed Isam on Zoom. That'll be the last question via Zoom, and then we'll come back to close off with one more here, and then that's finished. So, Mohammed,
Sean,
go ahead and ask a question.
Yeah, Sean, in the last 5 overs, obviously, Shakib used Taskin and the 2 fast bowlers on the trot. So, when you and Ryan were batting, I mean, was there also part of the plan that just take it as deep as this last 2 overs and see what you can do against the spinner?
Yeah, definitely. Look, I think the wicket it was keeping a little bit lower than than we expected it to. It was very different to Perth. So, we felt that to take on the medium pacer was definitely the way to go, and then sort of try and read the game with Taskin, see where he's going to go and use his pace rather than fight to the longer boundaries, which kind of worked for us, and to run hard between the wickets in that last 5 overs and take it deep, because as a team and as an individual, really back Bill's hitting. Bill can hit the ball a long way, especially when it comes to spin. So I thought the Bangladeshis were really good there. They took a lot of pace off the ball. Shakib in particular bowled really well, and so did Mossadegh. So, that's just sometimes the game can go this way or it can go the other way. And, credit goes to the Bangladeshis today. They kept their cool.
Lastly, you and Shakib have been playing the last 16 years. You played the first T20 between the two sides. Did you ever think that it will come down to a World Cup fixture where it will come down to the last ball, and a Bangladesh-Zimbabwe match had never happened in the T20 World Cup? I mean, what was that like?
You're making it sound like I'm very old, but it's just exciting. For us to have played this long, it's a privilege, it's an honor. We're very gifted and grateful for the opportunities that we've had, and to still be on the park with him and to get down to that last ball, playing for our countries, however many years later. It's an amazing feeling.
Thank Thank you very much. And we'll take one last one from Bharat here in the audience.
Deshaun, you still have every chance to make it through. I mean, you have your future in your own hands in a way. You've been part of many Zimbabwean dressing rooms. Does this Zimbabwean dressing room now feel like they belong with the big boys, as they say, and they can beat any team in any format, especially this one?
This is a very special dressing room to be a part of, I can't lie. Throughout, from when I first started playing until today, walking into this dressing room definitely puts a smile on my face. Even before I even get there in the hotel room, I'm packing my stuff. It's exciting to get into this dressing room and to training, and it's just there's a different aura about it. And yeah, this team can go places. It's the attitude that this team brings into certain things where things we may not have been dealt the best of cards, but the attitude that they bring to facing a situation like that, they're always bringing out the positive in something, no matter how bad something is. And that for me is huge. Just speaks volumes of them as individuals and as a group of players as well. And that sets a very big example for people coming through. And I think they're going to go far.